going on, people? So we're back, and we're back for a great show, man. I'm super excited for everybody out there. This is the Sports is My Love Language podcast, and I'm here with the cast and crew, ready to take off, pop off. We got a great topic for today. I'm really excited because today it's like a sports fan's wet dream. You got hockey started, baseball started. Hockey, you got baseball going on, you got basketball season, you got football. So it's just over. You got soccer with a big win today. You got a lot of things going on right now. So it's really exciting to have everybody here because, and it got me to thinking, right? And when we met in pre-production, it was one of those things where I was like, yo, you know what an interesting topic is? And everybody agreed. And the topic was for today, really asking you guys, right? What is the most exciting play or event in all of sports? You can choose to answer that however you want. But what is the most exciting or the biggest event in all of sports? I mean, we can go in so many different directions that I'm super excited to hear your opinion. Pops, what do you got?
I know we were talking about this earlier in yesterday's pre-production meeting. So, I was thinking about, okay, is this a moment? Is this more than a moment? What could it be? So I think the most exciting or biggest thrill in sports for me, I had a tie between two, is the last shot in an NBA game, in an NBA playoff game, whether it, coming off a timeout or not, or just taking it down the court. That last shot, it's going to be the last shot one way or the other, and it's going to be win or lose. To me, in NBA playoff basketball, that is actually pretty exciting. The other kind of tie for me is NHL playoff hockey, especially if it does go into its penalty shots as well, because it's one-on-one, similar like soccer, but the different factor for me is that the goalie has someone coming at them, and I think that builds such a suspense between the player that's going to take the shot and the goaltender. I think for me, those are my two like very exciting shots, because it's all or nothing for me at that moment. So those are kind of my two ties. I think for me, if I had to pick one, if you put a gun to my head, I'd probably pick the basketball one, because anything could happen. The guy could take the shot right over the guy's, right with the guy in front of him, drive at him, whatever it may be, and that for me is probably the biggest thrill in the individual.
So a buzzer beater. So you're going for a buzzer beater. What about a biggest event? Like, what's something that when it happens, like in sports, you stop, you freeze, because you're like, that is it for me. I know you mentioned something earlier today when we were talking about it.
Overall for me, NHL playoff hockey, to me, from start to finish as an entity is probably what the most exciting for me. Because every single game seems to be close, and because hockey is just so much back and forth on the ice, right? So it's constant back and forth, constant shots on goal, and for some reason, they tend to be a lot of close games in NHL playoff hockey, across the board. So almost every night during the playoffs in hockey, you're seeing great games, tight games, even leading into penalties at times. Depending if it's tied in regulation and after overtime periods. So I think overall, as an entity, hockey playoffs is probably the most exciting for me.
Okay. What about you, OCG? What you got?
So for me, the 2-minute offense in a football game is the most exciting amongst all sport. If I want to look at a sequence of plays, if you want to not look at sequence of plays, the single moment ever was the helmet catch that the Giants had against the Patriots, because for me personally, as a Giants fan, it was the biggest moment, as far as having zero chance at beating the Patriots that game. Randy Moss had just scored a touchdown. It was a wrap. And I feel like that for me, the joy that I got, and I'm like, oh, we've already won the game. I already knew a touchdown's coming. But any game, down 4, less than 2 minutes to go. Good, quarterback with a good arm can go down the field and make it happen. Outside of football, I love buzzer beaters. Who doesn't? That's my second. My third is a grand slam, full count, bottom of the ninth. I've actually been at a game. I was in Montreal versus San Francisco, and it was a full count, 2 out, bottom nine, 2-zip game. Boom. One of the greatest moments for me, at a stadium watching a game. And then last but not least, a penalty shootout, like in the World Cup or any tournament where best 5 guys go at it, is just something that I find the utmost fun. It's just so exciting. Every kick is a thrill. And that little 10 minutes or so is just outstanding. Great.
Oos, you took all of mine. You just kept going. I'm like, Oos, come on, man.
Like leave me one at least. Leave me one.
I always plan for everything, so I have a surprise. For me, Usman will know about this. I'm going to explain it a little bit. It's called a one-day international cricket match. Now, with that, it's like cricket, there's a lot of runs because every time you hit the ball, as long as you're able to successfully cross to the other side of the wicket with your partner, it counts as a run. So in a one-day international, it could be 250, 300 runs. But at the end of the game, when the second team is batting and you see how many balls are left to be bowled and you see how many runs are left to be made, and it's right up there on the big screen, and then the guy hits one shot and it goes and it's 6 runs at one time, and the crowd's going crazy. I don't think it's anything like that. It's just not seen in America because cricket is not really big in America. But I swear, if you guys ever YouTube one-day international cricket, you'll see the craziest stuff you ever seen in your life.
To add to you, that actually was on my list, but because we're in America, I was like, let me not mention it. But it was a version for 2020. But yeah,
you made me have to do the remix.
Yeah, exactly. Good one though. I love that take.
Nice.
Javito.
I don't know. I'm just gonna say this. Obviously, everybody's already kind of touched on things that it's like the most thrilling. So I'll just add them. And maybe just get maybe a little bit specific, right? Aaron Boone, Game 7. You know what I'm saying? Walk off home run. I don't remember ever being so excited, for a play like that. You know what I'm saying? It was just one of those things that I started calling people that I didn't talk to in years because I knew they were Yankee fans. How excited I was! Like, did you just see that? And I'm cursing, and I just kept on I for a good 10 minutes, I couldn't stop the excitement. That was definitely so. That's one of definitely the biggest thrills in sports for me is that walk off home run, especially if it's the team you're rooting for as well. So that makes it even more right. I could understand when Joe Carter did it for the Toronto Blue Jays to win the World Series as well, but that was in the Game 6, things like that. So the walk-off home run to just basically advance to the next or just win it all, that's incredible. That feeling must be out of this world. Now, I'm going back to the buzzer beaters. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing like a buzzer beater, right? Game over. You know what I'm saying? And you just walk off the what Dame Dollar did, Dame Dollar has done it. You know what I'm saying? Just and just bye. It's that exciting. And I'm not a Portland Trailblazer fan, but what I am is a basketball fan. When I saw that,
exciting.
I was super excited.
It's exciting, it is exciting.
Shot a 40-foot shot and just said bye. And not only that,
sir.
You even take it down to college basketball when Villanova played
one.
North
That's
Carolina.
more exciting to me.
That one game. It was UNC versus Villanova, and Villanova for the win. You know what I'm saying? I just jumped off the roof too. Just incredible thrills like that. That moment. You can. It can't be replicated. It's just championship moments. It's that's it. Goodbye moment. Or I'm the winner. Good moment. Bye bye. It's a lot, man. And obviously, it's just. When it comes to I guess another thrill would be I've never dealt with it because I've never been a soccer player or my team but I guess a World Cup win for that country You know, like the country itself is just excited. So just imagine a whole country just going crazy because their country just won either an international cup, you know, like Italy just won the Euros, you know.
Right.
Before that, it was,
that's soccer.
You know, like just that's crazy what they go, like it's the whole country, you know, it's not just parts of the country, it's the whole country.
Trophies equal holidays in soccer.
So it's like a collective thrill, you know.
Yeah,
National
like,
holidays.
Yeah, like that, like, you know, like if the New York Knicks win, you know, that's not the whole United States. You know, it's just a segment of the population in the United States, regional. You know, but when you win the World Cup, that's the whole country. You know, like that's big, man. You know, that you could all unite and just feel that same joy. It's a party throughout the country. You know,
Trinidad made it to the World Cup in 2006, South Africa, and they gave each person the day off each time Trinidad played.
Wow.
Well, that is awesome.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
I mean,
we got a holiday even from making it to the World Cup. We had a holiday and a big, like, all day.
No, that's awesome.
It's a big deal, man.
What do you got, Mike?
All right, so
what's yours?
Okay, so check this out, right? I went down like a rabbit hole. So I have my one, right? But then I just started thinking about all these amazing moments, like Scott Norwood, right? Wide right, what do you call it, a wide left, and the Giants win the Super Bowl. That was like, wow, mind blowing. I think about Bill Buckner, the ball rolling through his legs. Not even a Met fan, but I remember that like it was yesterday. You know what I mean? Then I start talking about, we start talking about individual. Usain Bolt breaking the world record, becoming the fastest man on earth. You know what I mean? I love. I'm not a soccer guy, but there's something about the World Cup that gets me gassed up. I become Mr. Soccer Man. I want to start watching everything, listening. Dre's the one that put me on.
I take responsibility for that. I take full responsibility for that.
We were getting up at like 2 a.m. What is it? Like early in the morning to watch some. I forgot what it was. Brazil playing in that World Cup, but it was
2002 like Korea Japan. 2002 Korea Japan. So the timing was off.
Yeah, watching the penalty kicks. You know, a penalty in soccer. I mean, and a shootout in hockey. You know what I mean? You talk about that buzzer beater, the walk-off home run. There's all these magnificent moments and times, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But when I think about sports, for me, the ultimate pleasure that I've never had the pleasure of actually participating in a physical in that thing, and maybe that's part of what the allure is for me, is a fighter that's down or behind in the cards, right? And he comes with a walk-off knockout, clean.
That's true.
Diego Corrales, God rest his soul, man.
Diego Corrales,
baby.
That came to my head.
Me too, man. That was the best one. Right. It gives me chills, man.
George Foreman, Muhammad Ali. George Foreman, Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's something about a fighter having dig deep. Here's one that people don't really know about that well, that didn't end up being a knockout. But it was just that a fighter being down and rising to the occasion. It was Tim Bradley versus Manny Pacquiao. In the corner, he's in the corner. What do you call it? You see Teddy Atlas, and you guys could Google this. It's amazing. He looks at me, he goes, "The fire doesn't scare us. We were built in the fire. We are firemen. We're not scared of the flame. And he gasses him out, and he walks out there with these eyes like, and gives the round of his life to beat Manny Pacquiao. Did he beat him? I don't know, but that round of his life. You know what I'm saying? And then you have Buster Douglas. Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
That was one of the
everybody was like, what the hell's going on right here?
That was nuts.
The Giant has died. It was like the Giant, down goes the Giant. You know what I'm saying?
That was nuts.
He's sitting there, and then the backstory about these guys that makes it so beautiful, because they're talking, and he's like, 2 weeks before the fight, Buster Douglas's mother was on her deathbed, and he sat there and he said to her, "Wow, your son is going to be a world champion." And for the next couple of days that she lived, she was telling all the doctors and nurses that her son was going to be the world champion.
Nice.
So he said
Wow.
he got knocked down. When he got knocked down by Mike Tyson, he could have given up. And 99% of the fighters that had fought Mike Tyson up until that point had given up.
Yes.
And he got on the floor and he says to himself, and I always see this motivational video on YouTube that talks about what is your why. And he sat there and he said, I couldn't make my mother a liar. I couldn't make her a liar. He had told everybody her son was going to be a champion. And he picked himself up and he knocked out Goliath.
That's real shit.
Absolutely. That's
Knocked
nice.
out Goliath. Because that's who Mike Tyson was. This is not the Tyson later on up and he's a little crazy. No, this was Goliath.
Yes.
This was the baddest man on the planet.
Yeah.
There was no
On the
discussion
planet.
about anything else. He wasn't really out like that yet. All the other sports. He was clear. You asked 100 people who was the baddest man on the planet. It was Michael Tyson. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's the guy that he beat with a knockout. Boom, TK. Locked him, 10 count, he was done. You know?
Yeah.
And then I keep thinking,
You know-
I'm like, wow, that to me, because it's the human element of it, the backstories that come with that knockout, why these people didn't give up. It's the sheer grit of not saying no. I have more. We've all been, listen, I don't care if you've been in a car accident, you've been in, boom, and you just get the life knocked out of you. You're just like, holy shit, bro. What the fuck? And especially if you don't have to be there, you have enough money in the bank where you don't have to be. You know what I'm saying? You could literally quit. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to get out there and get punched in the face when you're sleeping in satin sheets.
Right.
You know what I mean? And these guys go out there and they say, F it, man. You know what I mean? And they put it on the line. So that, to me, that the whole back, Oscar De La Hoya to win the gold medal. His mother had died of cancer. And he told her again, I'm going to win this for you, Mom. I'm going to win this for you.
Yeah.
And he goes into the ring with a heavy heart. Yo, who could do that? And captures all that emotion and says, boom, I'm going to win this gold medal for my mother. You know what I mean? So that, to me, that either the, you know, it's not always the knockout. It's that come from behind, find it inside of you. They say they say the ring is the ultimate chamber of truth. Yo, this weekend or last weekend when we saw Deontay Wilder lost that fight, right?
Yes.
And I could have easily said, yo, Tyson's Fury knockout was amazing. In my heart, and in my mind, what Deontay Wilder did,
gave him a lot of credit.
Holy, there is nothing more beautiful in sports for me than to see what that man did. You know, I
Keep
personally,
going, man.
You know, the way he went out on his shield, I could never do that. I could never do that unless my daughter's life is on the line, or unless you know my family's on the line. I couldn't do that.
Right.
But he sat there and he said, "No, I want to go out on my shield. Take me out." And I said to myself, the beauty in that is just phenomenal. So I love that. Come from behind, the boxing, the backstories, the family, that whole dynamic. Because I started off saying it was the knockout, but now I'm realizing it's the whole dynamic.
It's the why behind it. Yeah, it's the why behind it.
Boom.
Mike, you gassed me up. Mike gassed me up, man. You made me remember the sprint medley, the U.S. sprint medley with Michael Phelps and the other guys when they were behind. And the last leg for France was the fastest guy. And so there was no way this American kid was supposed to catch him. And, bro, he started hawking them down, and Phelps is there beating the water. Come on. You guys don't remember that?
No.
Wow.
No, you got to
take your word for it.
That was nuts, bro.
Sorry.
That was nuts. I'm not really big into swimming, but that moment was crazy.
Well, it must be.
It was an impossible comeback.
Yeah. But it's funny because you guys are talking about past moments, and I didn't really think about that in the terms of this topic. And while you guys were all talking, I thought about a couple. And I'm sure you guys will be able to relate. You know, for me, on a past moment throw like that was that Mets versus Atlanta game after 9/11 when Piazza hit that home run. You know,
big.
I am a Mets fan, but you know,
there. Yeah, obviously.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. So that was like thrilling. And even after that in the Super Bowl, where it was that first Patriots Super Bowl versus the Rams, because 9/11 had happened, and it was the Patriots, right? Just because of the name.
Yeah, true.
You know, and they were the underdog, and that whole thing kind of tied into it, all together like that. So that's why it got me thinking about these, you know, the past throw moments like that. So that for me was definitely, You know, those are the very moments, and like Mike knows me really well. I'm very, very stoic, very just, you know, and those are like moments that I remember jumping up. You know, when the Patriots kicked that game-winning field goal, right, to beat the Rams, but especially after Piazza hit that home run. You know, those are the very moments like someone would have seen me getting really like all emotional and hyped up and like screaming, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
So,
USA hockey team at the Olympics with the college kids beating the Russians.
yeah,
That was
84.
huge.
I mean,
Miracle on Ice.
I didn't watch.
Hold
that,
on,
so,
I got one right here.
I'm sure
Jen
whoever did
says-
was. Go ahead.
Jen says she wanted me to show this one and see if anybody here could figure this one out. What is she saying?
March 21st,
1946.
Nah, I think I was busy that day.
My mom was 1 year old, bro.
I was.
The
I
country
wasn't
up
even,
front wasn't even born yet, but I think they broke the color barrier.
I'm not even sure
that's
that
when
my
broke the color barrier.
my grandfathers even had an itch in their pants yet. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm not here.
Nah, thank you for that one, Jennifer.
That's what's up, Jen.
Thank you for
No,
that.
but I just googled it real quick, and yeah,
Jen's
that's
a historian,
definitely a
man.
game changer. Definitely
Who?
a game changer.
What is that? So like, if you could just spill the beans, Pablo. What is it?
First, Kenny Washington signs with the Rams. First black NFLer.
Okay.
1963.
Salute to Kenny Washington, man. I did not know
That's what's
that.
up, man. Good
Thanks for
info,
that,
Jen.
Jennifer. Thank you, Jennifer.
Good one.
But yeah, man,
Usman Ghani absolutely in the fourth that signed that year are not remembered as having done it. Okay, yeah, you're right. History was my secondary major in college. I think sports was your first. But we gotta bring her on. We're eventually gonna bring her on, man. She knows her stuff, man. She's good, and she's a.
Well, I'm sure she'll have an
What do you
opinion
call
on the
it?
next topic too, right?
Oh yeah, she definitely. What do you call it? Just to close this, we'll put a button on it. What do you call it? We're I love, right, that you could like, for me, I could think about important points in my life, and for some reason, like one of the ways I do it is by referencing sports moments. You know what I mean? Like I go back and I'm like, yeah, that was the year that, for somebody, like, you know what I mean? Somebody reminds me of something, I'll be like, oh yeah, that was the year that the Giants won that Super Bowl against the Buffalo Bills. Oh yeah, that was the year that this, da 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 da. For some reason, sports is so attached to me that I always remember events and things. And when you go down that rabbit hole, man, you get this nostalgia. One of the other ones that I absolutely love, moments in sports, because I really love college sports, and I hate the way a lot of it is changing, but I see why it needs to. But I love college sports, and one of the things is like this weekend when Texas A&M upset Alabama, and that rushing of the field. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But not just that, all the traditions attached, like when they play jump around in Wisconsin, when they wave at the hospital in Iowa, when they do the whiteout in Penn State, that pageantry, I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. All right, so we're gonna move on, and I know Jen, you're gonna help us out.
Move on. Give me one. Let me just let's just break it down a little bit though. Like if there's just like an actual like normal play, you know what I'm saying, in any sport, I'm gonna say this. For some reason, the dunk in basketball can always make you like, ooh, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if you always get that, or like a hard hit in football, ooh,
Hard hitting football.
Let's do that. Let's go around. Let's do that. Let's go around. Pablo, you can start with you, or start with you because you already thought about it.
I mean, like to me,
and we'll go counterclockwise.
Like,
what do you call it? The
I'm,
one play. Yeah. What's your play? You said the play is the dunk?
The dunk, like I just don't know. Every single time I see a dunk, I'm always like, ooh, it doesn't matter what kind of a dunk. It's still 2 points, right? But it's just the exciting 2 points of it, like
yeah,
sure.
I guess that's
What about you? Dre, what do you think? What's the most exciting? What would you look at of a play that you like? That's great.
The single thing that gives me the most energy is like a Derrick Henry stiff arm, well executed, where the guy falls.
Yeah.
Or like a juke move where the guy tackles like thin air and the other guy's out of there.
Yeah, like those are the things that
something like that
get you excited just for the game. It's not even a big moment of like Super Bowl. It's just
it gets you hype every time.
Yeah. What about you?
For me, it's a big hit when a guy comes out of nowhere
It
and then
rocks
just
them.
pops you, and it's on a highlight reel for a month,
Yeah.
And
And that
you
guy's
can feel the
embarrassed.
pain sitting on your couch, but it's still an exciting, way to look at it.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
You guys definitely touched on some of the ones that came up to my head into my head. But another one that I like, I wouldn't, I guess depends on the situation how exciting it is, but that strike 3 heater down the middle and the guy's just looking, and you're just sitting there like, oh, that was just nasty. That was nasty. That's the first thing you say is like, oh, god damn.
Like,
sit down.
You looking is crazy.
What about you, Mike?
I got two, right? 2 plays that when I see them, and they rarely happen. So, well, one of them rarely happens. The other one happens a little more often. The one is the throw out from the outfield when he guns somebody out at home plate.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's exciting. That's
exciting. Yo, when I see that, I'm like, yo, that's a nasty play.
Yeah,
and
that's crazy.
The one that I absolutely love is a fucking safety. When I see a safety in football, yo, I go crazy because I know what it took the defense to do that shit, bro. You're like, oh shit, and the momentum that changes in a game. You know what I'm saying? When a team is down, oh my god, a safety because you get the ball back. You know what I mean? I absolutely love that play. Efren says, "What's up?" Efren says, "Any walk-off scenario."
Yeah. I mean,
whatever.
Yeah, walk-offs are crazy.
Like, like that, but that doesn't like always kind of like a thing in every single game, right? So like that's what I'm saying. Like, what in just a regular game excites you? You know what I'm saying? And the dunk is usually gonna happen in basketball, and I'm gonna get excited for every single dunk I see.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
that's what that.
You must hate the WNBA.
Well, we'll get to that.
It's a good
Bringing
segue.
that up.
That's a
Bringing
great
that
segue
up.
right there.
Brittany Griner threw it down last night.
Hey, no. I got to shout out Adrian over here. He says a chilena. So a chilena.
Bicycle kick in soccer.
A bicycle kick. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Oh.
when you see a bicycle kick in soccer, you're like, oh, like, you don't really see it.
It's nuts when
a hole in one,
What it takes to execute a bicycle kick in soccer is what it takes to throw a baseball full speed from the outfield and hit a Poland Spring bottle on home plate.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the same sort of execution. It's blind execution. Memory of where the goalie is.
Yeah,
it's a lot of stuff, man. I almost broke my arm once and still didn't score.
Hole in one. I mean, I'm not a big golf fan, but I guess if I'm a
hole in one is gangster.
I'm sure that I would go crazy for that, but I don't watch golf enough to get excited. I mean, I get excited if I get a hole in one in miniature golf. So yeah, I can see it.
A hole in one would be crazy. A hole in one is crazy.
That is kind of nuts. What do you call it? The next one. Okay, so that kind of leads us. It kind of rolls us into the next topic. And we're going to talk about something that Usman mentioned. And he just said, we're going to need some ideas on improving either the marketability or the actual product of the WNBA. We watch the game. They play it at a high level. It's very technically sound, right? It's actually truer to fundamental basketball than the NBA, right? And it was funny because yesterday, when we were doing the pre-production, somebody mentioned that we had the championship was going on.
Yeah.
The final. And had I not been watching had I not been watching Sports Center or talking to you guys, it would have gone right over my head. I wouldn't have been paying attention. You know what I mean? And it had me to thinking. We were talking about it. Why do we think that is? And what would bring you to watch that product? You know what I mean? What would bring you to watch that product? Pablo, what do you think can help the NBA in marketing? And what do you think in the actual sporting event would drive you to watch, to be more interested?
So I was kind of doing a little bit of research, about an hour before we went live, just to kind of see where are they at right now, just overall, as an entity. And I was a little bit surprised to see that they have been growing actually in viewership, ratings and things like that. I think mainly because ESPN has invested more. They've shown more games this past season from what I was reading. So it's up like 49%, almost 50%, which is a pretty big jump, from the year before. Whatever your perspective is on what COVID, had an impact on it as a league. And just for full disclosure, in general, during regular seasons, I don't even watch that much NBA basketball. Now, I probably will be watching more because we're doing a podcast and all that. But I really begin to focus on the NBA come playoff time more. Like I start watching a lot more games, during playoff time. I'll watch NBA, here and there, Christmas Day, those kind of things, the casual, dates.
Right.
But to Mike's point, I do know that it is fundamentally more sound. There's also some names in the NBA. Sue Bird. A lot of Diana Taurasi. Some of those.
We are. Hey,
famous
Pops,
players.
Pops.
What's up, bro?
Because our
Let's go
guy,
Bucks. Let's go Bucks. Let's
our
go
guy,
Bucks.
AK, is live.
At the
He
game.
is live
AK, show Usman
at
a
the
close
game.
up
Your
of
mic
Brady.
is muted.
We interrupt this live
Yes.
broadcast for a
Yeah,
live
all right.
check-in.
Just give us a scan of the stadium. Give us a scan of the stadium. Your mic is muted.
He's
Look
muted.
at that. Oh, man.
That's
He's live
nice,
for the
bro.
Thursday night
Awesome,
game.
AK.
Have
Awesome,
fun,
bro.
man.
What's the
Have fun,
over-under on
brother.
how many beers he's had already?
I think 4.
4 over under 4.
Bucks.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Are we good?
It might
Yo,
be
that
more.
looks awesome, man.
He's
You
having a
got
little
the-
bit of trouble there. It's tilted.
It's
Might be
okay,
more than
man.
4.
Nah, that's awesome, bro. So he's got Lincoln. Just to let everybody know, he's at Lincoln Field, man, watching the game and
Great stuff,
enjoying
man.
Enjoy the game, brother. Enjoy the game,
Enjoy it.
man.
Guys, I can't
Yeah,
hear you. I'll give you my prediction
Yeah, we
for
can hear you. We
Thursday
can hear
night,
you.
We can hear
and I
you.
can't wait to see the
Go ahead,
show.
talk.
I'm sure it was awesome. I'm going. All right. I'm about to say I'm not going to Eagles in the stadium. Then it's a 0 with it.
You can't do it. You can't do it.
I'm gonna change scores. And I'm gonna go Eagles 27-24.
All right.
Roast me
Yeah.
Do your thing, brother. Enjoy the game, my man.
Enjoy the game, bro.
All right, bro.
Yeah, have a good one, bro. And drink a beer for me.
He paused
That
for
is
a
awesome.
second, like,
All right, man.
He's like, damn.
Eagles 27-24 in your dreams.
So
That's
I was
awesome.
surprised to see all that, about the WNBA. So it is growing. They have a WNBA League Pass. They have it on like Prime if you have a Prime membership. So I guess they're investing in it. But I honestly, what can they do to improve it? Athletically, they're doing what they can, what they're able to do in terms of the fundamental basketball. You have some players in there that are really elite athletes, that can, really have more of a wow factor. And I think someone mentioned yesterday in our pre-production meeting, that's been thrown out there, outside of lowering the rim so that they can quote unquote dunk. What more can you do? I think right now what it should be is investing in availability of the games and just expose it to as many people as possible. Like ESPN did this year, adding more games, adding more local. I think before it wasn't available, for a long time, and just in any free channel, local channel, it had to have been some premium service or anything like that. But to be frank, I was thinking about it. I was like, to improve the viewing experience for the people in the stands, I really don't know what more they can do except play good, solid foundation basketball, and not have it be sloppy or and anything like that. Because I just don't know what else from a game perspective they can do, but from a marketing and just business, just keep putting it out there for people to watch, and just hope that through generations that it begins to grow. And so far, based on the numbers, it seems to be growing year in, year out. The almost 50% jump is big from one year to the other.
It is, but it just feels like, and I'm gonna just make a quick point. I just feel like it's actually a quality product. You know what I mean? And the fact that I didn't know that the finals were on, at least the finals. You know what I'm saying? Uzi, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
So so I'll piggyback off of your comment. Marketing, right? So the finals are on. The finals are on. It doesn't matter what sport. The finals are on. I don't hear about it on ESPN. I don't hear about it on TV. I don't hear about it anywhere. So if there were finals on for anything else, you'd hear about it. So marketing needs a major, tick up. Dunking the ball. Obviously, we can't ask for someone to do something they physically probably can't do. At least most of them. So Javi's favorite play. It's never going to happen in a women's game. Not to the frequency.
It happened yesterday, by the way.
Not to the like I said, not to the frequency at which it happens in the NBA.
Right,
so
right.
Yeah, of course.
So that's the other issue. So, however, I feel that most of us, when we're a fan of a team, you talk to me about the Giants. I'm defending them till I'm blue in the face. I'm defending them. I'm taking whatever you guys, throw at me. If they're fans who are loyal to these teams, which takes time because it's a very young league. So, marketing, get fans, get the fan base going, and then that's going to, sort itself out. But for the time being, market, put it out there, make us watch it, put it in our faces.
Okay.
Trey,
what do you got? What do you got for it?
You're on mute.
Yeah, Dre, your mic is muted.
Dre, you're on mute.
With the mic logo right under his screen too,
I know.
I don't know how that happened.
User error.
So I have a different angle. I think that it's like the local, the cars only, and then the truck lane with the two highways on the parkway with the NBA and the WNBA. But the disconnect, the grass in between them is too wide. I just started seeing NBA players repping the WNBA and being front row at the games recently, which was my original idea for how to increase viewership and popularity in the sport of women basketball. Because all it takes is for young boys to see Chris Paul and LeBron James at the game, and now all of a sudden they think it's cool. It's the same way they think music is cool because it gets played over and over. It's satisfied that popular. So at the end of the day, for me, the NBA, if the NBA adopts the WNBA, it starts putting its logo alongside the WNBA logo and takes a percentage 5 years from now when it's at a place where money can be split up. You don't think that that would work?
Well, doesn't the NBA subsidize the WNBA too?
Yes.
Now?
But not in that way, man. It's not. They don't have their back the same way. It's not like a record label putting an artist out there to get money back. It's not an investment. It's like, I'm your big brother. Let me try to help you out. Yeah.
Yeah. I get it.
And it seems like that. It comes across that way. And that's the reason I feel like there's the disconnect.
So you're trying to say like the NBA doesn't do it does enough maybe on the money wise, but it doesn't do enough to promote it either. You
you got to stamp it. When you stamp it, you stand by something.
Right.
Like if a coach is talking to a team about tackling, and then he's like, "Listen, man, I really need you guys to watch Javi, his technique, because that's the way I want you guys to tackle." That stamp does something different for you for the rest of that practice and maybe the rest of that whole season, bro.
But Dre, don't you think like in the All-Star game when they have women players pair up with men players and they have certain games, and I feel like that's a very good thing the NBA is doing to incorporate.
That's smart marketing. That's showing that the women got game because they do. Bro, last night, Diana Taurasi, she could beat some guys in the NBA in one-on-one, bro.
And she also shoved the referee, and nobody called it.
Right.
Did you see that?
She can play ball, and she's tough. She's not like looking for fouls or nothing. It was impressive. I watched the game because I'm like, you know what? I owe it to sports. I don't see any difference. I feel like women's sports need to grow. So I'm going to do my little part by trying to watch it and get into it. And last night it was exciting. It's a pretty exciting game.
Well, forgive me for like not knowing this, but let me ask this question. Like during the NBA All-Star festivities, is there a game that the women partake in? Like, let's just say an actual game. Is there one, or is it just a skills challenge type of thing?
There's a game.
A
There's
3-on-3,
you mean,
or is
like
it a
the
5-on-5?
I think it's like a 3-on-3.
No, what they'll do is they'll
Like
bring
the
in
celebrity game.
retired
It's a-
players.
So this is
Retired
what I'm
players
trying to
match them
say.
up on like a team. It's not
Like get the WNBA All Stars, mix them in with the NBA All Stars, combine it co-ed, and have an All Star game. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, Jen says it's
see,
almost like it was set up for failure as an afterthought because they had
Right. Right.
But that's the whole thing. Like, you know, if you want to basically put these women basically faces in your face, you got to throw them in those games because that All-Star game is going to make people watch, right? Because LeBron James is going to go there, but at the same time, now LeBron James's face is going to basically give you an idea who a Diana Taurasi is, you know, or Brittany Griner, you know, because we know these names because of college. All right, let's get that out of the way.
In March in a tournament.
It was basically March college tournaments. Why I know these women's names.
Javi, you're a genius.
It's not
All-Star Weekend mashup, men and women.
That's
the women game right before the men game.
Go for it. You know what I'm saying? I don't see why not. You know, like if the NBA is throwing this money to basically subsidize the WNBA, do a little bit more so that eventually maybe the WNBA could do it on their own.
Right.
So, Javi, are you saying that the All-Star game to be changed or have an additional game?
Yeah, like an additional one. Not don't take it away because
don't mess with what's working. This is working. You don't mess with that.
Just add it. You know what I'm saying? Like the WNBA also has their own All-Star game, right? But let's have a collaboration, you know what I'm saying, of an extra game on that weekend during NBA All-Star weekend so that it could be more exposure for these women, you know, because again, the exposure from the NBA is going to be there. So if you could put these faces now into regular basketball fans that rather watch the men's game, now they're going to take an idea of what these women can actually do. And if some of them are basically locking up some of these guys, and don't get me wrong, these girls can ball.
They can
know
play.
What I'm saying? They can ball.
Oh yeah.
All right. They're great shooters. They, like you said, they're very fundamental. Now, obviously, they don't have the strength. They don't have basically the athletic ability, you know, as the men, but they know the game of basketball. And if there's a couple of times that a woman could basically get the man, it's gonna raise like, oh, maybe I should watch them. Yeah. You know, give you that maybe, and that maybe could work out for them.
And you know, to piggyback on your idea of bringing the women in during the NBA All-Star game, because the NBA All-Star game is what, February-ish, right?
Yeah, mid-season, yeah. Around
the women start in May, right? But to piggyback off that, because it kind of led me to it, is in May it's playoff season in the NBA.
Yeah.
So let's say the Lakers and the Clippers are in the playoffs. Well, why don't you promote the LA Sparks? Same thing. Be at the game. Front row, you know,
exactly.
And put some players' names because it's gonna start. You know what I'm saying? It's about this. Their season's about to start.
But so let me tell you why they don't do that. Because they play overseas. The women. If you actually see, they don't just play WNBA season. They actually go to Europe.
And
play as well.
Okay.
Yeah. They make money.
A lot of them do because the money's not a lot.
The money's not a lot for
the money's WNBA. Better in Europe for some of them.
They go to Europe to basically play, you know, another season. You know what's the WNBA regular season schedule?
May to September.
30 something games, is it? I'm not
32
sure.
games.
32 games. So, you know, they're done basically with a regular season within 2-3 months. You know, and that's it. You know, and then after that, they'll go to Europe to play another 2-3 months over there.
Make some money.
Yeah. So
a lot of them make money over there.
It becomes a little bit of a problem.
I used to play basketball every day, and like I played basketball with some women that are just beyond outstanding.
Yeah,
you know?
man.
When I'm watching a women's game, it reminds me of watching a European basketball game. Very technical, good shooters. Leave someone open, never missing
setting
a shot.
Screens, running plays.
Yeah. It's just so fundamental. It's so exciting. But it's that dunk isn't there, and I feel that distracts a lot of people.
Well, that's the excitement level, right? The dunk brings that excitement, like, oh, you know, that athletic ability that you don't see as much in the WNBA, you know. So, yeah, I get what you're saying about that. You know, I definitely do.
But to piggyback off of Javier's idea, if let's say, you know, Taurasi hit that three in LeBron's face on that Saturday night All-Star pregame.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to remember her. I'm going to want to watch one of her games on Friday night when there's no other sports on.
Let's see what's going on.
And they will always put it on the ESPN as a
reminder.
LeBron, you know,
Yeah.
so it's exposure. You know, it could create this excitement. Go ahead.
There's another layer to it. They do not promote the women's NCAA tournament as much. So then we never know who's going into the pros because we don't see who's shining in that tournament. We can tell from the guys in the men's NCAA tournament who's going to line up in the draft for the next season.
We got a comment.
We'll highlight that.
All right, John Gruden.
Sorry, all good points, but not no thanks. Yeah, okay, so
what do you think, Mike?
So,
what do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna let you guys know. I was thinking about this situation because I was thinking the MLS started off in very similar vein where it didn't have the following initially, you know, and it took a long time for the whatever. What was it? Well, number one, you guys all touched on important points, and one of them is that it takes time for a team to develop a following and loyalty. You need to know they're going to be around to kind of become loyal. So like you look in Orlando, Georgia, Seattle, LA, now in Miami, these teams are becoming, there's a community around that team and they're promoting within their community. They promote it a lot. Here's the second part of it. It's a good price, right? And here's what I know. I know that going to a live WNBA game is a great experience. I used to take my daughter to go see the New York Liberty all the time. And you get free tickets. It was amazing. And it was women empowerment, and I love doing it. But here's my point, and it's a controversial take, I think. I don't know what you guys will think about it. I think the biggest problem with the WNBA is they're trying to be like the NBA. They have not separated themselves and created their own identity on why. If I watch A, what am I going to watch B for? It's just more of A. You know what I'm saying? Why not? So look, I associate it to wrestling, right? You ever watch back in the day, not now because I can't stand wrestling anymore, but you'll watch wrestling and then you'll watch the women's division, right? And it's like, I get it, but nah, not always. You know what I mean? But now you watch MMA and you watch the women's division, you're like this, like, oh shit, yo, that's badass. You watch Clarissa Shields box, you're like, oh shit, that's badass. Because they don't try to be their male counterparts. They've understood that they have their own lane and they've cultivated it and they've developed it. See, I consider myself a feminist with chauvinist tendencies. You know what I mean? And in this case, I want these women to develop their own personality. These girls walk into the arena with their headphones like the guys do. They sit there, they try to mimic the moves like the guys. Yo, where is your first of all, that's not your game. You know what I mean? Your game is very technically sound. Your game is the purest form. You'll create your own identity. Separate, as a matter of fact, in my opinion, instead of going towards the WNBA, I think they need to separate themselves as far as possible from the WNBA. What do you call it? As far as possible. Once they do that and create their own identity, now we have a reason to watch. We're not watching the NBA light. You know what I'm saying? We're not drinking Coca-Cola Diet Coke. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't sell me Diet Coke. I'm drinking Coke. You feel me? Why would I drink Diet Coke? I got Coke right in front of me. Coke is better for you, maybe. I don't know. Or whatever. It has better, whatever. But we're not pushing in that direction. And I feel the same way with the WNBA. I feel like it's NBA light. You know what I mean? It's Diet NBA. And I think that they're best served by creating a new identity as a healthy alternative and something different. Shit, if not attack the NBA, but for me, I would say something like, I'm going to promote the WNBA as, where you can find the fundamentals. Take that angle and run with it. Be like, you can go there. Yeah, that's where the excitement is. This is where the fundamentals are. And promote that and push it and you push that narrative that you're where the fundamentals are, that you're the purest form, and attack that aspect. And I think they would be better served. You know what I mean? Sticking to the Sticking to the NBA. I'm telling you, it's always going to be in the shadow. It's always going to be secondary. All right, guys. I think everybody made a good point. I hope the open in. All right, we're going to go to our next topic, and it's the hot take of the night. All right, we have a segment called Off the Cuff. It was Pablo that dropped the hot take for today.
I did? Okay.
Which one is it?
About the
What is it?
It's the expanded instant replay.
That was me, but it's
That was
the same
mine.
difference. You can go, Pablo. Go
I was
ahead.
like, I ain't that bad about it.
I don't know,
Not
man. To me, they look the same right now.
All right, there, John Gruden. All right.
Oh.
But you know what? I will say where I really do think the expansion, in instant replay is really needed, because I'm sure one of you guys, or a couple of you guys, will talk about it in football. But for me, it's in baseball. You don't need a home plate umpire anymore with the level of technology for replay that we have today. You just don't. And sometimes, one of the reasons why I really don't watch baseball, sometimes I get frustrated. It is a lot of bad calls. I mean, in my view. Now, I don't know if any of you guys watch a lot more baseball than I do. Like I said, I'm less than casual, but I will tend to watch more in the playoffs again. Like we are in playoffs right now. And then I see other obviously people involved in the game talk about it, that I think replay will help out at home plate a lot more. A better strike zone, more accurate strike zone on that. And I think there is where I really think it'll be as a most benefit. I look at other sports that have implemented it. Tennis has pretty much gone to it, a lot. I'm sure maybe one of you guys that are soccer fans will probably talk about the VAR, whether you're in favor of it or not. But for me, I think in baseball, I know Javi was kind of dealing with the VAR in the Colombia game a little while ago, so that's why he's, going.
VAR's had a bad week.
Yeah. But I think for me, it's in baseball. I think and it can help shake up the sport a little bit, because it's got this, like baseball's old and boring, and it sticks to its old ways, and it needs to kind of shake things up a little bit. And that's where I really see where it should really expand more.
Usman.
So one of the things that I wanted for them to do is, we have all this technology. I understand the biggest reason everyone has an issue with is, well, it's going to delay the game. So I'm not saying give 15 more red flags to the coaches, keep it for, where it's at. But some of the phantom calls, like a phantom PI or a phantom face mask, like stuff that just did not happen on replay. It was not even close, beyond obvious. I feel someone like the NBA has in Secaucus, or college football has, which is, video booth. So I feel that something like that should take place, where there's like a appointed referee who get all the takes before the next play, quickly stops the play right before they say hike, calls it in, or lets them continue. So there's no stoppage, but someone's reviewing those obvious situations. One of the things that, the touchdowns, they already review the touchdowns, but I feel like it takes too long by the time they make the decisions. I'm not telling you to nitpick, like PI calls where, it could have, should have, would have been. But if it's very, very obvious, clear cut, quick answer, yes or no, do it. Also, reverse some of the calls where one guy sat on the other guy, but we didn't see it. So the guy got up and pushed him, and the referee got him for a 15-yard penalty. But on camera,
they always catch the second guy. Yeah,
they always catch the second guy. Maybe somehow find a way to catch the first guy when that happens. So I'm not saying give flags for this, but there's someone out there on camera. Just anything that we can see on our TVs, at least those things should be reversed within gameplay without stoppage, because we saw it in those 2 seconds, and there should someone be appointed to do the same.
Right. What do you think?
In every sport, there should be it should be called a companion. It's piggybacking off of what Usman said. It should be called a companion. They should be up in the box, and it should have a red light and a green light. The ref makes the right call. The green light flashes. They keep going with the game. The ref makes a questionable call. They flash the red light, and they take a second look at the call. It doesn't slow down the game any more than it already does for all the complaints and all the stuff that happens. So there's an easy way, but like with baseball, they can eliminate it in baseball altogether. Put a sensor in the ball, put sensors at home plate. They call strikes, they call balls. You don't have to have the umps calling anything. I can do that right now with the job that I do. So it's the fact that they don't want to take the human element out of the game because they think there's a disconnect with the fans. I think that's
I want to add, before we switch to Javi, I just want to add one quick thing. This is a topic for another day. I believe that the NFL, through referees, influences outcomes. And I feel like that's why they don't want to do this. For another day.
Could be.
Conspiracy.
But hold on. I was about to say that. That's the whole thing. Like, I feel like the reason why they want the human element is for things like that to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, let's just say it. Like, controversy, you know, brings in views, brings in, you know, attention, you know. So like, you know, we could always talk about, oh, you know,
that was a catch. No, it wasn't a
catch. You know, like we could go to the Des Bryant, you know what I'm saying, when he against the Packers, right? A lot of the Cowboy fans will say that was a catch, and then by rule it wasn't a catch, and it's like, you know, we go back and forth with that. So the human element stays because, you know, let's just put it frankly, it sells, you know what I'm saying? And if you basically put a computer to do everything and it's always going to be correct, you know, there's that element that's going to be taken away. And that's that basically that gray area that we could always basically go back and forth and debate on.
The fan knows the computer is right, so he can't yell at the computer, but he can yell at the ump because he thinks the ump doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, I gotta give a shout out to one of the comments right now, listening from Colombia. Hey, Kenneth, I got you, brother.
Colombia.
Yeah. So, late goal.
No. So going back. So let's talk about this instant replay. Man, I wish they would get it right. That's the whole thing, right? You know, like it's like I want more of instant replay because it's like you think that they're gonna get it right, and all of a sudden when you start getting more of it, and then there's still these mistakes, you're just there like, why do we have instant replay then? You know, it starts making you question instant replay. And it bothers me so much because it happens in a lot of these games, and it's not only soccer. I see it in football. You know, you know, I remember, I forget what game it was. I think it was like last week, and you know, I hate to hear his voice, but Joe Buck was there. Like, wow, like I did, like, you know, he even said like, I don't know what the hell they just saw.
Face in all the sports.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's why, you know, I hate to hear his voice, but he was right. He's like, I don't know what they saw, you know, and that's why I'm just there. Like, why do we have instant replay? If it's easy for the viewers at home to see, what is it so hard about a guy in the instant replay to see? Well, he's getting it at all angles, slowing it up, speeding it up. I'm just not understanding. And at times I'm like, yeah, I would like instant replay to be advanced, but if you can't even get it right at this point, why should I advance it and wait for more agony? You know, that's my take.
So check this out. Yeah, I'm just here like this. Unfortunately, a human still reviews the play, even up in the booth, right? So no matter how much we kind of try to throw technology at it, there's still a human element behind that. Number two, a pass interference, 10 people can look at the same video and 10 people can have a completely different perspective, because I may look at it and be like, I like a little bit of hand fighting, right? You may look at it because your team is on the line with the game on the line and really want that call. But no, that's pass interference by technique, right? So how do we start judging the game? How do we end the game? Like, do you want to leave? I kind of rather let people play a little bit, especially when it's competitive. So there's a lot of theories when it comes to sports on how people judge them. So I look at that and I say, how is the computer? That's why you can't get rid of the human element. Because, again, there'll be one human that looks at that and says, a little hand fighting is okay on a deep route. And then you'll see another one that says, no, he put his arm out. That's interference. And who's right? It all depends on what the tempo of the game was, or what you established early. See, if you established early that hand fighting was okay, but you put it on instant replay and all of a sudden a little touch, the crowd's going to go crazy. People are going to go in an uproar. You know what I mean? So I don't know. You know, I don't have the answer for that. I don't know if more instant replay is the answer. Yeah,
so in football, your idea, Uzi, about the booth? was actually implemented in the XFL when they were playing, and it worked out really well. It was quick, and the decision came from that person. All the ref was just waiting, okay, what is it, yes or no, right? And they had cameras in that booth, while the two people were looking, and they were like, see right here, yep, he stepped out of bounds right there, clearly out of bounds, and it was efficient, and it was actually one of the good things about the XFL that people were actually liking about it. So it can work.
Yeah, there's a lot of good things to it. There's a lot of good possibilities to it. You know?
Yeah.
All right, guys, fellas. So we are at the end of our rope here. Let's go. Thursday night predictions, man. Let me know. What do you got, Pablo?
Well, I'm taking the under in total points. So I'm going 31-13. Tampa.
31-13 with the over-under being 52. Right. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
So you're going under, and you're saying 31.
Yeah. 31-13. So 44 points total.
Usman, what you got?
So I think what I was telling Mike earlier and Pablo earlier, that Brady in the last 8 night games has not covered the spread as the favorite team. So, but I feel like today is the day that he covers the spread. Spread 6.5, 7. I feel like he wins by more than that. So I feel like Tampa is going to win the game. I feel like Tampa is going to be able. It's going to be a lot of pressure on Brady, so he's not going to go a 40-point night. I feel like Philly, on the other hand, is going to struggle to run the ball. Jalen may be contained. They're going to have a lot of opportunities, worse passing defense. So Jalen has an opportunity today to showcase his passing skills if he has any. And if he does, it'll be a competitive game. The last few Thursday nights, I've noticed that the underdog has played competitive, so I can't say it's going to be a complete blowout. I'm still thinking 24-13 unless there's garbage time points. But, in non-garbage time, I'd say 24-13 Bucks.
Okay, Dre, what do you got?
27-14 Bucks. Sorry, AK.
All right. I got the Bucks winning about 25-18, and Tom Brady scores a 1-yard touchdown.
That's a wild score.
That is a wild score.
It's like a safety.
It's like me that week 1. Yeah.
What was
safety and a half a field goal?
I know. What was
extra point?
What was AK's incorrect winning score?
27-17, I think. 27-24.
Yeah, 27-24 Philly.
All right, we'll mark that as a loss.
Jen says 28-17 Tampa. I'm actually going with Jen. She's right on my score. I said I don't think they can go cross the 17-point barrier. I don't think they have it in.
Right.
I think Tampa Bay's running game is too good. Running defense is too good, so they're going to throw the ball. And we've seen that they're inconsistent in the throwing game. I think they are going to get some field goals, maybe a couple of touchdowns. Maybe even in junk time touchdowns. I think that Tom Brady, he's found Antonio Brown. He's made up for the loss of Gronk with these guys. He's kind of got some chemistry with them. I say 28-17. I'm going with Tampa Bay. All right, with that, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the game tonight. And this has been the Sports is My Love Language podcast. Yo, Kill, enjoy the game, bro. Have a beer for all of us. Peace.
He's gonna need it.
Turn that camera straight.
Yo, for real, right?